I hope it's a good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'd like to talk about use of metaphor and poignancy in literature. Poignancy is sadness, and I think most people know what a metaphor is. I'll read a story from my book, Dusk at Pimlico. Grandma and Grandma's house. I lay in my bed on a Saturday morning in Pimlico. Relaxed, I hear the loud but ever so subtle tick of the clock hung on the wall. It's so familiar, just like the sound I used to hear when I would visit my grandma and grandfather in West Yorkshire. Up the train I would go from King's Cross to Wakefield Westgate. Sometimes I took a taxi or the bus to their bungalow in the village of Clayton West. In the summer, the door would usually be open with colored stripes hanging from the door that one always puts their hands in front to pass to walk through. Has someone come? She knew it was me, and all it took was a phone call to tell her that I'm coming. She would get up with the biggest smile on her face and raised cheekbones, dressed in usually very traditional dresses with big patterns on them, beige shoes, ones that I remember with straps, and I remember that bright blue dress so well. I would drop my luggage in the front room or put in my guest room at the back. She would get things started right away. Let's put kettle on. One time I went up to visit when I was a young self-employed professional. I came dressed in a dark pinstripe suit. My grandfather felt my suit and said, "I'm very proud of this young man." He even passed the news on to my other relatives that I later came dressed in a suit. Gran would serve 4 or 5 courses, eggs and bacon for breakfast, full course lunch of roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, vegetables, and mashed potatoes with gravy. There was a wooden square table at the end of the sitting room in the bungalow. Before meals, it had to be pulled out to make it a round table. My grandmother would lay down a white and blue checkered tablecloth that today might be considered vintage 1960s. She would boil water and wash and dry the plates we ate from them to keep them warm. Red crockery runs with brown trim, forks and knives with slightly faded wood handles, and there was always salt and pepper shakes with HP sauce put on the table as well as bread and butter. My grandmother would say at the table, before I started to eat, "Get weaving," means start eating in Yorkshire. There was never too much talk at the table. My grandfather would ask if I'm all right. The talk was saved for after the meal. If there was any talk that became serious, my grandfather would lift his fork and knife, never pointing at anyone, making his point in the conversation, and get back to eating his meal. Now I'll go into the story because it's quite long, and I don't know if I have so much time on my phone, so I'll improvise. "Let's do the tradition of bringing in the new year." "What is that?" I asked. He said, "Go outside and then open the door." I did, and I was greeted by both of them. "Happy New Year." I can still see that big smile on my grandfather's face, full of joy. He turned to my grandmother and gave her a kiss. Although now I just see them in my dreams, and all I hear is the sound of the ticking clock on my wall. So the clock is the use of the metaphor, and it's a poignant story because there's some sadness there because they're both gone now, and I see them only in my dreams. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.